Welcome back to our Rise Prime Time, where we offer perspectives on the news and talking points of the day. I'm Somna Sambo, and of course, we've been speaking on several political issues across the country. Now, the Labour Party has appointed Osuntokun as its new presidential campaign director general. He replaces Doyin Okukpe, who resigned from the post after he was convicted for violating the Money Laundering Act. Well, the appointment of Mr. Osuntokun as campaign DG is not sitting well with some party members, and questions are already being asked by Nigerians on his alleged dual membership of two political parties, the LP and ZLP. One aggrieved member is already threatening a lawsuit if Mr. Osuntokun does not resign, as he can be listed by INEC as the Ekiti Central Senatorial candidate of the Zenith Labour Party for the February 25th polls, and yet be the DG of the Labour Party Presidential Campaign Council. But the Labour Party has countered those claims, saying its newly appointed campaign DG is, quote, fit and proper. Now, the party says though Osuntokun did express his interest in running for the Senate on the platform of another party, but the decision was later abandoned in preference for the national movement for a formidable third force to rescue Nigeria. But he resigned his membership and candidacy of the ZLP. The Labour Party's members have also been rejecting the This Day election center projections, saying that their candidate, Peter Obi, will emerge victorious next year. Well, for more on this, I'm now being joined by Tanko Yunusa, who is a spokesperson of the Labour Party Presidential Campaign Council. He joins us from Benin, the Edo State capital. Thank you so much, Yunusa Tanko, for joining us. Now, let's start with the election projections first before we go to the controversial issues of Osuntokun. What do you make of the projections by the This Day 2023 election center that has put your candidate, Peter Obi, in the third position?
Okay, first of all, I want to say there are two differences about a projection and an opinion poll. A projection is just like you, even you, Samna, you can sit down on that your table and project and say ABC will win from this particular position or from this particular angle. And it's just like when you see in a vendor's stand, you see a lot of people who are reading newspaper. They also speculate and procrastinate and give a kind of a projection. So it's a projection. But an opinion poll, you have to go to the field. You have to sample people's opinion. You take a sample of certain area and then you project it and you ask questions. So that makes it more authentic than a projection. Now, when you talk about the projection by this day, it is very clear that This Day was projected at a point in time. You remember, they said we were just only on the social media. We are not even visible. But now, This Day has given us 15 states. 15 states that we are going to win 15 states. That is their own projection. And that, of course, tells you that we have the capacity of winning 24 states. Because as we are moving gradually from non-existent to being visible and being existent and then a power to reckon with. So as far as the projection is concerned, it just tells us to go and look at those areas where they are talking about, i.e. Katsina, Jigawa, Borno State, Kebbi, and we have people there. So it's a free consultants that they've given to us. And so we thank them, but we are going to continue to work. But then when you look at also the opinion poll that was already done by ANAP and NOI, it clearly shows that we have 23% as against the followed by Bola Tinubu with 13% and Atiku Abubakar with 10%. So we have a 10 lead gap ahead of those. But then the fact also remains that there are undecided voters, which have from the Northeast, you have 89%, you have Southwest, 88%, 87% from the North Central, and Northwest, 86%, with lowest coming from the Southeast. Now, this projection also tells you that there's possibility of us to get more voters from this particular area that were mentioned. But most interestingly, that is of major interest to us, you know, our campaign has always been on issue-based politics. We don't talk about individuals. We rather talk about issues. So in this regard, The statistics that was done by ANAP also indicate that there is an undecided voters on the issue of insecurity in terms of economy, in terms of unemployment, and in terms of poverty and with education, with insecurity rating high to 35%, and economy raising to 20%, and unemployment 10%, with poverty 7%, and then education 7%. Now, when you look at our 7-point agenda, the 7-point agenda clearly signifies these particular areas that the ANAP projection has written. So, in terms of security, our principal has done extremely well in Anambra. Remember his record. There was no single armed robbery during his 8 years in service in Anambra State. That's to tell you that we can appeal to voters in that particular area of security.
All right, so let me get you clearly. Sorry to interject here, but let me get you clearly. So Peter Obi is working more on the undecided voters alongside the traditional voters, but majorly focusing on undecided voters. Is that what you're saying?
No, what I'm trying to tell you is that after that, we are already 10% ahead. There is a room for us to go higher. That is exactly what I'm trying to show. And then the areas that we could go higher are the area of our own strength in terms of what our principal has performed in Anambra. So you can see it gives us more room to appeal to those particular voters in terms of insecurity, in terms of poverty, because our mantras indicate that we are changing the mantra from consumption to production. And that also takes care of the issue of poverty. So within those areas, we can even go higher than the way we do, because we don't want to also be stagnant, that because we are already leading in almost 6 polls, we now become stagnant and remain static. Let's move from that, because already we have the numbers on our side.
All right.
As the statistics state.
Let's talk about the areas that you already have as your stronghold. I mean, the southeast is being given to you. The south, you're making inroads there. The middle belt, you're making inroads there. But it looks like the north, Labour Party is not doing so much. And of course, you and I know how critical votes are from that part of the country. You especially are from Kano. It looks like Labour Party is nowhere to be found in Kano based on these projections. What will you do to ensure that, other opinion polls and projections see you from a different perspective in the less than 60 days that's left before the election day?
Statistically, we have 93,000 polling units in the entire north. That's north central, northwest, and northeast. And then we have 49 million voters in all of this particular north. But what we have been able to do, honestly, at a point in time, we are not even existent at a point in time in the north. But today, as I can tell you, we have the younger brother to the former governor of Zamfara State, Yari, under our party. That is to tell you that we're making an appreciable increase in Kano in particular. I have been to Kano several times. We have candidates, we have a governorship candidate, we have Federal House of Rep candidate. In Fage, for example, we have Shaibu Fage. We have people who are already contesting. And what at the moment now
all right. We seem to be having network issues. We seem to be having network issues with you, but let's just try to round off this conversation very quickly. Let's talk about your new DG. I mean, the allegations that your new DG is a member of 2 political parties, the Zenith Labour Party, of which he is the senatorial candidate for Ekiti Central in the same election that will be holding on February 25th, and that he then resigned his membership of the ZLP before joining a lot of, quote, patriots, like we have been told, in the Labour Party. What do you make of this accusation?
Let me give a background here. There is what we call the Big Tent. The Big Tent is a directorate of our campaign council. In the Big Tent, we have different political parties, registered, some registered and some are the registered political party. They work under the Big Tent. You see, this particular movement is multi-political party interest. It's not about one party. It's about the conglomerate of all Nigerians. We have technocrats, we have businessmen, we have academicians. All of them who do not even want to be like popularized as a member of the Labour Party, but they belong to the Big Ten. They are all working assiduously, and that political movement fall into the realms of where Akin Osuntokun fall into. Remember that you have interviewed us severally in the National Consultative Front, which also deflate into the political thought force. So every one of us have been in that particular platform, and that metamorphosed into the big tent that we are having. So you may be amazed to see even members of PDP, members of APC,
Yunusa Tanko, let's be very clear here. Is Akin Osuntokun still the senatorial candidate of the Zenith Labour Party in Ekiti State in the February 25th election?
No, because already he did not even campaign. He abandoned the project ab initio completely to fall into the issue of rescuing Nigeria. So he just said this on Channels Television, confirmed that he is a member of the Labour Party. And then he only ran for election. He was mentioned in the election for Zenith Labour Party because at that initial point in time, he was interested in running. But knowing fully well that there's a need for us to come together and rescue Nigeria, honorably, he joined the movement of the task force and was member of the Big Ten, and now he's a member of the Labour Party in order to rescue Nigeria. So he has done an honorable start to join the Labour Party and to move Nigeria forward. What
do you make of the call for his resignation, including by one of your party members who has given him 5 days that if he doesn't resign, there will be a lawsuit slammed against him? What do you make of that call for his resignation?
In that regard, you also know that particular person that you are mentioning is a suspended member of the Labour Party. So he doesn't have any local standing whatsoever. So you should regard that particular concern, because we have a new DG and we are wishing him well. We know he has the capacity to perform and is going to defend the interest and then move ahead from what Chief Dr. Doyin Okukwe has done. So this is a movement to rescue Nigeria, and no single person will deter us. We are determined, we are resolute, and we are going to continue to soldier on until we get Nigeria back to the Nigerian people. Okay. That can be discounted and
just before I let you go, very quickly, how many out of the 6 geopolitical zones do you project Peter will be winning as a party? Your campaign strategy. How many out of the 6 geopolitical zones do you foresee Peter will be winning? Very quickly.
We have interest in all the 6 geographical zones. You know why? Because the Nigerian youth domicile in all the zones, and that is our strength. Because for the first time in the history of Nigeria, the Nigerian youth have decided they are going to go all out to vote for Peter Obi because he resonates with them.
Right.
And that is the reason why you saw the upward in the registration of voters. So as we speak, we continue to mobilize along 176,846 units across the federation. That's
all right. That's very good to know.
To go and mobilize along the unit. And that, of course, would ensure that we are represented in all the zones.
All right, I'm afraid we just have to end the chat now because we can't even hear you very clearly so much. But we must thank you so much, Tanko Yunusa, for helping us understand the politics of the Labour Party. And you keep insisting that Akin Osuntokun is still the rightful DG and he's going nowhere. Well, for those who are calling for his resignation, you've heard from the LP spokesman that Akin Osuntokun is going nowhere.